look so great. So great to see so many new faces. Well, it is an honor to welcome you to the John Brown Watson's Memorial Library System Fall 2024 book signing. My name is Miss Sherrod Harris, and as a graduating senior, I'm thrilled to be here today to introduce our guest speaker. Today, we're excited to have author Logan Stout with us, whose book, The Grit Factor, has inspired so many with this powerful message about perseverance, resilience, and the drive to succeed. It is an incredible opportunity to not only hear from Logan Stout, but to connect with others who share a passion for personal growth and determination. We're so grateful to have you here, whether you're a longtime fan of Logan's work or just discovered it today. I encourage you all to take this time to engage, ask questions, and most importantly, celebrate the power of books and stories to shape our lives. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoy the event.
Good morning. I say good morning.
Good morning.
It's a great day to be a Go to Line, right?
Yes.
All right. This is a new chapter. This is different. We're excited about this and excited about the opportunities that this brings. Talking to Cameo, and he's my guy that keeps me in line, and told me, Chris, don't take all the time to take the thunder away, because again, we have a very special moment, and we get the opportunity to celebrate one of our own. He's officially ours now, okay? He's part of the Golden Lion Nation in Coach Stout. And I would say this on a personal note too. One of the toughest times in my life, I had my brother introduced me to a young man, Brian Tracy. He's a speaker as well. But Tracy put some things out there. You're looking at these things, look beyond from where you are at that particular time, and you think about these things, and it gets you out of those moments. But now you got 15 attributes to help you when you go into situations. How do I look beyond and get out of those situations? That's what Coach Stout brings to the table with this book, to help you with those things. I like what Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. Okay, I got the end in mind, but how do I get there? Know some of the things that Coach Stout brings to the table with this book right here. So I'm excited about this. I'm not going to stay up here long. But you see the book is called The Grit Factor, right? Yeah. It's a grit factor, right? So Logan's going to talk to you about grit, but I'm going to take my version of grit. Y'all know what it means this morning? Get ready. It's time. Coach Stout, let's give him a hand.
Appreciate you being here. I think I just kind of take this back to the beginning. And, I think it's important. You're all coming from different walks of life, different states, different ages. And I think it's important you understand this one simple principle, and that is every expert was at one point in time a beginner. Every expert was the people you see and all this stuff. You may have seen me from Shark Tank, and I've had a chance to mentor them and be on the television show spinoff, myself and Mark, the founder of Netflix, that aired last night. So I've had the chance to do some really cool stuff, but people don't know the journey. So I'm going to take you back. I was born in the 70s in Richardson, Texas. Married my best friend from 7th grade, who's actually here, Haley, my wife. She's right there. Haley, stand up real quick. All right. So there's my wife. And so she can attest to these stories of North Junior High. Walking down the hall in 7th grade, I'll never forget, she looked at me, she goes, hey Logan, why do you wear the same outfits every week? And I go, well, I only have 3 outfits. And she was like, that's cool. And I was bullied by kids. I was made fun of by kids. I grew up dirt poor. My mom raised me and my little brother. I worked full-time since the age of 12. So I'm up working construction at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to school. As soon as school's over, I'm back working, whatever I had to do to help my mom pay the bills. And people don't know that side of my journey, right? Sports was my outlet. It was the way I was able to go to college. I was blessed to get a full scholarship for both basketball and baseball. So I had a full ride at the University of Oklahoma, played for Coach Kelvin Sampson, Oklahoma. Ended up playing baseball instead, which was a huge blessing. But sports was the one place where I felt comfortable, that and the classroom. I was grateful enough to be decent in school, so I had good grades. So when I could be in class, I felt like I was safe. Second class ended, I felt nervous. I felt scared to walk down the hallways. I just felt like I wasn't worthy, And Haley was I get emotional thinking about it. She's one of the few people that, she was my friend, She didn't judge me. And I always joke around, I say, when you're rich, you get girls like her. But the truth is, she was with me when I was broke. And so let me tell you the story of how this took place. I'm sitting in my dorm room in the 90s at Panola Junior College. So I was supposed to play college basketball at the University of Oklahoma. That year, they were top 4 in the country. I'm sitting in my dorm room watching the University of Oklahoma play in the Final Four. And I'm in a dorm room in Carthage, Texas, at Panola Junior College going, I think I made a mistake. Right? Their starting point guards, both of them got hurt in the beginning of the season. I mean, it was me. Eduardo Nájera and I laugh about this to this day. And Eddie, he ended up playing for Oklahoma, played in the NBA for a while. He goes, yeah, you should have been there. I said, no, I shouldn't have. Let me tell you how God used my life, right? And so I'm sitting there at Panola Junior College. I'm sitting on my bed, a little depressed. I'm supposed to go play in the Cape Cod League or a summer league, which for a baseball player is a big deal. That's where you want to go. And my heart wasn't in it. And I'll never forget, and listen, I'm a Christian. I understand if some people aren't. No problem. No judgment. I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. I opened up my Bible, looked to Romans 12, and long story short, God put it on my heart to coach.
Right.
I didn't know where to coach. But back then, there was no such thing as perfect game or travel ball. None of this existed back then. Back in the day, you had a local league. That was it. And they had tiers, and you had the highest level. When DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, it was Boys Baseball, Inc. That was it. And the who's who of Texas played in that league. All the big leaguers from DFW, that's where they played. That's where I played. Long story short, I'm college baseball. I called Boys Baseball, Inc. I remember the number like it was yesterday, 972-684-1444. I still remember it. Richard Holt worked there. I go, Boys Baseball, this is Richard Holt. And I remember it was before cell phones, before social media, before email. And I remember I called him. I said, this is Logan Stout. I'm a college baseball player at Panola College. I'd like to coach a team. You have a group of kids that need a coach. And he said, well, actually, no. We already finished our tryouts, and all the kids are chosen. So the way it worked is there'd be about 2,000 players show up that were the highest level. They had to make through these different siftings. You got in about 2,000 players, and then the coaches got to pick the ones they wanted. And there was one coach, Coach Gustafson. You baseball guys may recognize that last name. Coach Gustafson out of Texas. Coach Gustafson had the best select team in DFW. And he was the guy. When I was a kid, I wasn't good enough to play for his team. I wanted to, right? They won the region every year, went to state, went to... Fast forward, I get a list of names emailed to my college in Carthage, Texas. Or not emailed, mailed. 14 names come in the mailbox. I opened up the envelope and I start calling these kids. Yeah, this is Logan Stout. I'm a college baseball player. Long story short, I'd love to coach you this summer. And these kids would be like, yes, because nobody wanted it. There were the 14 kids nobody chose out of the 2,000 players, right? So I take these 14 kids. Back then, Sundays were off. You didn't play. And so I'd go from Carthage, Texas, drive 4 hours after our last game on Saturday to Richardson, Texas, and I would practice these kids for 4 hours. And then I'd drive all the way back to campus, right? And I did that the entire fall, entire spring, until we started summer ball. Well, I get a phone call from the legendary Coach Gustafson, right? And I was so excited. I was like, this guy's like a guy I look up to, you know? And I'll never forget, this is what he said, well, hey, welcome to the coaching world. I said, thank you, sir. Thank you for calling. He said, I'm going to give you advice. This is your first year. I'm going to give you a piece of advice, and that is this. You're not going to win a whole lot of games, so throw your best pitchers against the worst teams so you can try to get some wins under your belt. And that's when my grit factor went to a whole other level. I mean, you're trying to tell me like we're not going to win, you know? And he said, well, just like when you play us, just don't throw your good guys, save them for other teams. Boy, I was furious, you know? And so I'm like, I hung up. I'm like, I can't wait to play this dude. So fast forward, I'll never forget it. 6 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Back then you played every Tuesday, Thursday, and you're off on the weekends. Tuesday, 6 p.m. at J.J. Pierce High School, Richardson, Texas. We're playing our opening game of the season. I've got 14 Bad News Bears that nobody wanted, right? And we're using this whole thing, right? We win. We're going through the handshake line. Y'all have done this with athletes, right? The head coach is always last. You go through the line, and we get to Coach Gustafson, and he wouldn't shake my hand. He turns, he walks away. He's walking back to the third base dugout. I'm walking to the first base dugout, and then I just stop. I said, hey, Coach, nice to meet you in person, and wish you the best. And he just kind of looked at me and smirked. I go, by the way, we threw our worst pitcher. And that was it, right? We walked off. That's how I started coaching. We ended up winning the region, winning the state, and then my mom calls, because I used her address for mail. And she calls, she goes, hey, honey. I go, hey, Mom. She goes, you have a ton of mail. I go, really? She goes, yeah. So I go, well, open it up. She opens it up. She goes, she read one. She goes, Dear Coach Stout, my name is so-and-so. I would love to play for you next summer. And we got over 1,000 pieces of mail. And that's how my coaching journey began. Here's what's interesting as we relate to Grit Factor. I was still playing. So I went on and played, got hurt, got to play a little professional baseball, went and coached at Dallas Baptist University. It's 2002, we took DBU from NAI to NCAA Division I. We won the NCCA World Series our first year. That year, I started a small business to help pay the bills. Because coaches, especially back then, didn't make any money. So you had to find a way to hustle on the side to make some money. That little business, for those of you who don't know my story, I'm just sharing this with you because I'm going to get to the attributes here in a second. That little business ended up doing over $4 billion. Over over 20 years. Changed my life forever. And that's how you see these stories of me mentoring Shaquille O'Neal or Carrie Underwood, whoever these people are. It's because of the success that I was blessed to have as a 22-year-old kid. And what I've learned through this whole journey, through this whole deal of life, if you want to call it, what brought me here to UAPB, is there are attributes that make up successful people. There are attributes that help us navigate through the course of a season, that navigate through the course of a marriage, that navigate through the course of raising kids. These are my twin boys, Miles and Cooper. Stand up real quick. There's my boys, Miles and Cooper. Thank y'all for being here. There's attributes. And so what if, follow me on this, what if there was a recipe to help you to get to the bullseye that you want in life, right? Like how many of you have a dream? You have an uphill dream. There's a dream you want. Okay, what's your dream, sir?
To be financially stable.
You want to be financially stable, right? Amen to that. But somebody tried to tell me money's not important. I said, it ranks right up there with oxygen on the must-have list. It's important, right? You got to make money, right? All right, you want to be financially stable. Who else has an uphill dream? Like specifically. Who has a dream? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my name is Sherry Gibson.
Nice to meet you.
I want to become a research and development cosmetic chemist, and I want to be a leader in the industry.
Ooh, I love that. I love it.
My name is Miss Shirai, and I want a couple franchises.
You want some franchises? That is so cool. It's a great industry. All right, so here's the deal. You have these uphill dreams, right? Lock in on this. The dream is free. The journey isn't. These uphill dreams, it's easy to dream. It's free to dream, right? Okay? Most people have uphill dreams, but they have downhill habits. Super achievers have uphill habits, thus the reason they accomplish their uphill dreams. All right, so the book came from my experience of looking at people from different walks of life. People I've had the honor of life with, from billionaires to Hall of Fame athletes, people totally different. Haley, you and I are at Carrie Underwood and Mike Fisher's house. Carrie is like the most quiet, reserved, Mike, her husband, played NHL. He's the captain of the National Predators. Then Shaq walks into the office, wrestles with my son the whole time, right? Shaq's completely different than Carrie Underwood, right? Troy Aikman, completely different than Shaq. Like Darwin Deason, grew up in Rogers, Arkansas. He moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, worked in the mailroom at MTech at the age of 29. Became the CEO, took his proceeds, started a company called ACS, sold it for $6.4 billion. From Rogers, Arkansas. One of my favorite things when we vacation with Darwin, we just talk about the beginnings and how everybody looks at the success, but they don't look at the journey. So I've sat down with Darwin, we vacationed, I've sat down with these different folks, and I'm going to tell you the person that inspired me to write this book. So I get asked to speak. So other than my primary gig of being a college baseball coach now, which is so much fun, I do a lot of speaking engagements, right? I still do, and I love doing it. It's an honor to do it. But here's what happened. One of my first big speaking engagements was at Reunion Arena. It's where the Dallas Mavericks used to play, right? And so what they mail you is a speaking lineup. Who's speaking, what their topics are, and then you can kind of cater your message so it's not redundant to somebody that's going near you, right? And what got me into speaking was when I went and saw a message from Zig Ziglar, the great Zig Ziglar. If you've heard of Zig, some of you don't, some of you have certainly heard of him. He's the greatest motivational speaker of all time. He sort of created the genre, mentored Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy. Got to see him, and this guy walks on stage named John Maxwell. So I'm in Reunion Arena, it's packed, 20,000 people. And I'm sitting there, and John Maxwell gets on the stage and speaks. Now, when I was 17 years old, I was given my first personal growth leadership book. I had never heard of personal growth or leadership. They didn't teach that in school, right? I didn't know that. Right? I knew algebra, right? I knew English, right? But nobody ever told me about personal growth. I had no clue what that meant. So lock in for you athletes, you students. When you grow you, everything around you grows. I'll repeat that. When you grow you, everything around you grows. You want to change the way you do life, change the way you think about life. Thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to habits, habits lead to results. The problem with most people, they have broken thoughts, therefore broken habits, because they have broken actions and never get the results. Right? So I read this book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Changed my life. 17 years old. I'll never forget, so when I read in the Dallas Morning News that John Maxwell speaking live at Reunion Arena, right, I collected my money and I was there. I heard Zig speak. I heard John Maxwell speak. I heard all these, and I was sitting in the nosebleeds, but I was there. I was locked in. And I'll never forget, I went home and I wrote down, I go, I will meet John Maxwell one day. Okay? Fast forward 5 years later, the speaking docket comes out. I'm asked to speak at a sold-out crowd at Reunion Arena. And speaking right in front of me is John Maxwell. For those of you who know John Maxwell is, John is the #1 leadership author of all time. It's not even remotely close. He's been hired by 26 presidents of countries, the Pope, I mean, you name it. The guy's an icon, written 62 best-selling books. And so I tell my wife, Haley, I go, I got to get backstage early. She goes, why, honey? You hate, like, standing around. I go, no, I got to get there before John goes on stage so I can meet him. And so I sneak in there like a little kid, you know, and now I'm the one I'm hired to speak at the event. So I get in there like a little kid, and there's John Maxwell. I walk in, I turn left. I go, Mr. Maxwell, Logan, Stout, it's an honor to meet you. He goes, no, the honor's all mine. I've read your book. And I went, what? He goes, I've heard you speak. You're phenomenal. I'm like I think I'm in a dream. I mean, what's going on here? He literally looks at me and he goes, hey, let's go to Pebble Beach and play golf next week. Okay. So I go, honey, well, we're going to Pebble Beach next week. She's like, well, I got to get my hair done. I got to. No, you don't, honey. You're going to be fine, right? So we go to Pebble Beach. I kid you not. I'm there playing with some of those biggest names on planet Earth, playing golf for 4 days. We have the whole course reserved ourselves. It's unbelievable, and that's how the journey began. And here's the moral of the story. He and I go on vacation to Fiji. We're laying on the beach. I think you and his wife are shopping. I don't know what y'all are doing, huh? That's a pretty good guess, guys. It's where you'll find it a lot of time. But he looks at me and goes, John, Logan, you should write a book. You need to write another book. I go, John, I'm not really a writer. I'm a speaker. Really? He goes, Logan, I'm not a writer. I go, John, you've written 60 best-selling books. You sold over 5 million copies in Chinese, and you don't even speak Chinese. Right? You're an author. He said, no, I'm a communicator that writes. He goes, and that's you. You need to write another book. Now, of all the experiences you've had, you need to write a book to help people. And that's what birthed this. So basically, I looked at all the people I've looked up to, from John to Darwin Deason to you name them, and I came up with 15 attributes that I felt like if people would just apply these 15 attributes to their life, they could navigate through the 5 stages of life. So what are the 5 stages? The first stage you're going to go through is called the honeymoon stage. How many of you are married? Okay, y'all remember the honeymoon stage? You're like, no, that was a long time ago, right? The honeymoon stage is like you baseball guys. Remember we talked about this. August 22nd meeting in the lecture hall, right? It's 22 degrees. The honeymoon stage. You're going, okay, we're so excited for the season. You get your butt tore up one time by me, you're no longer in the honeymoon stage. You know what I mean? We get through that, we go to adversity. So the moral of the story is the honeymoon stage, it ends. You buy a new car. Remember you get a new car? Well, you park that thing away from everybody, right? You check it for door dings, right? You get it washed every week. You have that car long enough, you'll squeeze into the tightest parking spot ever. You have to. Have you seen the parking spots out here? Right? You got to squeeze it in there as tight as possible. You know what I mean? You don't care because the new car smell wears off. It wears off. Why do you think car salesmen are trained to reach out to you every 3 years? Car leases are every 3 years because they know that you're going to get bored of it and they can upsell you another, right? Cars, relationships. You start dating somebody for the first time, you think they're perfect. Some of you may be too young to remember this, but us adults remember that, right? You think they're absolutely perfect. You're up till 2 o'clock in the morning saying stupid stuff, calling them Pookie and pet names or whatever, right? And then you realize that they're not perfect. You know what I mean? And then you either decide to grow together or go apart. That's what happens. Stage 1 of a business is the same way. I was on a big podcast Thursday, I think it was, and they were asking me questions live. And they said, entrepreneurship, what advice do you have for people who want to start a company? I go, here's my advice. It's going to cost more, take you longer, be more stressful than you ever imagined. And that's how you know it's worth it. When I signed up to be the head baseball coach at UAPB, after Torrey Hunter called, and Chris and I met, I looked at my wife, I go, honey, this is going to be more stressful, cost more, and take longer than I ever imagined. But when we dogpile, that's how you'll know it's worth it. That's how you'll know. This is going to drive Chris crazy, right? And I know this is being televised. I believe we're going to make history at UAPB. I'm not going to say why, Chris. I'm not going to freak you out, right? I believe we're going to make history at UAPB. I believe it with all my heart. In fact, I have an unwavering belief we're going to make history. I really do. And I hope you'll support the baseball program. So, more to be revealed on that. But the moral of the story is this. I'm going to share 3 attributes with you of the 15. But I hope you'll read these 15 attributes and apply them to your marriage, apply them to parenthood, apply them to your job, apply them to your career, apply them to sports, whatever it is you do, I hope you'll apply these. And I've been blessed to have some great endorsements from folks that have applied this book and the bullseye. So the 5 stages, it starts off with the honeymoon stage. Stage 2 of anything is called adversity. Whether it's relationships, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's school, you're going to go through adversity. The 3rd stage, if you get through that and don't quit, right, is you're going to have some progress. A Harvard Business Review said the #1 key to happiness in life is progress. You want to lose weight? Be a little better today than you were yesterday. Be a little better today than you were yesterday, right? You want to be a better team? Be a little bit better day at pickoffs than you were yesterday. A little bit better at bunting than you were yesterday, right? Little inside joke with the baseball guys, right? You have to be better. It's called stacking bricks. So how do we have progress? You can't be a paperclip. People live a paperclip life. Whatever can fit in, that's what they'll do. You have to be a rubber band. What makes a rubber band work? You have to stretch it. If you don't stretch it, it's worthless. That's the same as human potential. Right? You got to get out of your... When you have a comfort zone, the second you step out of it, your comfort zone got bigger. And then when you step out of it again, it got bigger. And the more you keep expanding yourself, expanding your mind, the more comfortable you can be to call excellence in a moment's notice. You think sports are stressful? I remember sitting there in the boardroom, you know, had to come up with $50 million in 12 hours. That's stressful. Not losing a baseball game. You know what I'm saying? And so everything's in perspective. Honeymoon, adversity, progress, stage 4, right, is management mode. So you've gone through, you had the honeymoon stage, that wore off, new car smell, your spouse isn't perfect. You are though, honey, right? Spouse isn't perfect, right? You have adversity, progress. Okay, we're getting better. Things are getting better. This is good. Life's good. Then you get that management mode. Okay, listen, management mode is where human potential goes to die. This is cruise control. This is where the just enough disease manifests itself. You just enough to get by. Just enough to get by. Right? You start having the microwave, Google, lottery mindset. Fellas, even the lottery, you have to go get the ticket. You have to do something. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is, I see it with coaches, I see it with teams, I see it with employees. They just get comfortable, and they just put it on cruise control Monday through Friday. They celebrate Wednesday. What's Wednesday?
Hump day.
Hump day. I learned this term. I'm sitting at my computer. True story. I'm sitting at my computer at our old house. And on Facebook, people are like, happy hump day. And I go, what in the world? I go, honey, get in here. We got something to celebrate. Anyway, it's my wife. I can say that. All right? Hump day is people celebrating halfway through their work week. This is going to make some of you uncomfortable. When you have a career that you put up with, that's not a career. That's called handcuffs. God did not put you on this earth to celebrate surviving halfway through a work week. That ain't it. And listen, I'm going to tell you, the calling hasn't changed. I was speaking to a Division I college baseball coach last night. You would know his name. He's stressed out, NIL, all this stuff. This guy's he's a legend. He'll probably go in the Hall of Fame. And he literally asked me, he said, well, are you sick of it yet? Talking about being a college baseball coach. A lot of you probably don't know this. I don't need this for a job. Right? You'll probably figure that out. Right? This is a calling that God put on my life to come to Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Okay? This is not a job to me. This is a calling. Well, even with a calling, there's going to be things that drive you nuts. Okay? It's just part of it. Right? And he goes, well, you sick of it yet? I thought you'd resign by now. I go, I'm having the best time of my life. What are you talking about? And he said to me, he goes, oh, come on, coach, don't lie to me. I said, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, there's adversity. And there's moments where I'm like, what in the world did I sign up for? But then I look back as to why I signed up for it. Go back to the 3 things I told you about anything that's worth it. It's going to cost more, take longer, and be more stressful than you ever imagined. And that's how you know it's worth it. There is no such thing as a smooth mountain. If there were, how would you climb it? It takes the potholes to help you reset and elevate to the next level. The person at the top of Success Mountain didn't just fall there, right? It doesn't work that way. You got to grind through it. Well, when you grind through that management mode and you stay thankful and grateful for why you're here in the first place, you don't celebrate hump day anymore. You know how many coaches get into coaching because they want to make an impact on young men's lives, young women's lives, and they forget why they did it in the first place? How many teachers, educators, they forget why they did it in the first place? Parents. I see parents put up with their kids. My wife and I were told we could never have children. Went through 10 years, told them never have children. Boom, popped out twins. That's how you make up for time, real quick. Right there. So there's those 5 stages. You got the honeymoon, okay? You have adversity. You got progress that you keep going. You get into management mode. It happens to all of us. Put it in cruise control. You've got to snap out of that. You've got to snap out of it. That's when you start going through practice and you just cruise through practice. Right? Versus that first day of practice, you're locked in, ready to go. Right? That's when, as a coach, you just put a practice plan together. Get it out there. Make sure they have it. Versus really studying the practice plan. What are we going to work on today? Right? And so it's easy. It's easy as you know, going through your prayer time. Just, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Versus truly feeling and meaning the words that you're saying to the creator of the universe. Right? And so my point is that management mode, we're all guilty of it. Y'all hear me on this, family? I'm not speaking at you. I'm speaking with you here. We are family. I'm part of the UAPB family and honored to be here. Okay, so I'm speaking with you here. It's easy to get into management mode, but stage 5 is when you're living a fulfilled life. When you can't wait I can't wait for Sunday to be over so I can get to the field with the players. I commute an hour. I mean, you can ask my wife, all of our other companies, I put them 2 miles from our house in Dallas, Texas, because I hate driving. I hate it. And if I've ever gone by you going 110, I'm not sorry, okay? That's what I'm going to do. Just get out of the way, and we'll all be good, all right? Coach Chris Robinson said, I said, hey, there ain't no way to get down here in less than an hour. He goes, oh, I know. I go, man, I go 100 plus, and it still takes me an hour. He goes, I know, you're going right past me plenty of times. I'm sorry. I got to get the Dallas out of me and go back down to 75. But the Dallas, there are no speed limits. They're just suggestions. All right, so I got to get better. All right, so as a wrap up, because I want to open Q&A, I want to talk about 3 of the 15 attributes really quick. The first one is character. People have different faith beliefs, they have different whatever, but the one commonality I've seen with all these folks is they're people of character. Character is the foundation for your talent to be built upon, not the other way around. Put another way, character is what protects your talent. I want to make sure you heard me on that. You see a lot of talented people, pastors, athletes, business folks, in jail right now. They had their whole world ahead of them. Character flaws. Now, I'm a sinner. We all make mistakes. Don't misunderstand me. Being a person of character, okay? I'll give you one attribute of character really quick. Integrity. What is integrity? What you say, what you do, you actually walk it out. You're not a hypocrite.
Yes.
What you do, what you say, you walk it out. You're a living, breathing, walking billboard of what you stand for in life. Integrity, right? So one of the attributes is character. You know what happens when you lack character? You try to take shortcuts, right? I've never seen somebody cut corners and go far. I've seen them run in circles. You cut corners, you'll be running circles. You can't do that, you understand? So sometimes you have to understand with yourself, with others, you have to have hard, deep conversations. If you're a person of integrity and a person of character, you're going to speak up when something's not right. And that's the common theme I'm seeing with all these folks that I've had the honor to mentor or do life with and learn from. Number 2, you have to have the right alignments. I say alignment before assignment. The who accomplishes the dream. The what is the outcome. So I asked 3 people here, what's your uphill dream? And you all 3 gave me what's, which is very common. Which is very common, right? The number 1 key is, this is who I'm going to align with, so the what and the how happen.
Well,
Y'all hear me on this? You can be on the greatest beach resort in the world. The nicest, think of your best vacation spot on planet Earth. You can here, where would you be? Now, plug in the wrong person. Nightmare. Okay? You can be in Dallas-Fort Worth traffic, gridiron block traffic, but with the right person, you can have the time of your life in that car. Right? You can get there saying whatever you want to do, right? You got the time of your life. The number 1 key to you accomplishing your success other than you being the person you need to be is the right who. Well, how do you get the right who? Listen, you attract who you are, not what you want.
yeah.
You attract who you are, not what you want. You're a complainer, you're going to be surrounded with complainers. Here's the other thing. I told my wife, I said, honey, we want a simple life for our kids, doesn't matter how much money we have. But we are going to have a nice home, and here's why. I want to see who my kids are hanging out with. I want our house to be the house they come play at, because that'll tell us who our sons are becoming.
Yeah.
You can't escape that. You can't escape it. You cannot escape it. So you need to really ask yourself. I can say some of you are going to need to break up with some people. And I'm not talking about boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm talking about just alignments. People you're to align with. I promise you, no one is immune from this. No one. I've had the honor to mentor some of those famous pastors on planet Earth. Mega churches. 8, 10, 12 satellite campuses. You name it. 40,000 converts every Sunday. They're not immune from it. They're not immune from it. I'm not immune from it. The number 1 thing I guard myself with is who I do life with. That's the number 1 thing. I promise you, and get this, ready for this? I'm going to take you back to John Maxwell and Island Beach. I'm going to take you back to Shaq in my office. I'm going to take you back to Pudge Rodriguez playing golf. Whoever. When you grow you, and you control your alignments, the people you once looked up to will become the people you do life with.
Yeah.
Let that resonate. Troy Aikman was my favorite football player. We owned 3 companies together. Pudge Rodriguez was my favorite baseball player. We've owned a bunch of companies together, vacation together. John Maxwell is the reason I've written books and do speaking. He changed my entire life. I grew up dirt poor, raised by a single mom, working 4 times a year to 12. I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. But you're going to have to change your mindset. And you're going to have to change your attributes that you're doing. Remember, thoughts lead to actions. Uphill dreams need uphill thoughts. Okay, well, how do we get those uphill thoughts? Who you hang out with, what you watch, what you listen to, what you read.
Yeah.
It's that simple. You know what's easy about life? To not do the simple things, because they're simple. Right? You know what the world does to you? This is big. The world sucks you into what it wants you to become. Okay? When you're 18 years old, you have dreams. Miles and Cooper, you guys have dreams. What are your dreams? You're 12 years old. What are your dreams? Be in the major league. Okay, you know what the world is trying to tell you? You're not fast enough, you're not strong enough, you can't do it. The odds are less than 1.0%, blah, 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 blah. The world wants you to be normal. The world wants you to be what? Normal. Abnormal makes the world scared.
Yeah.
It makes them feel less than. One of the biggest insults you could give me, Logan Stout, he's normal. Heck, no, I'm not. Normal is you're doing life with people you don't want to do life with because you have to. Okay? Normal is you don't have a good marriage. Normal is you don't have time for your kids. You give the people that mean the most to you what's left of you. That's normal. My commitment is I'm going to give those that mean the most to me the best of me.
Well.
That's an intentional choice. Lock in on this. Most people accidentally exist through life versus intentionally designing their lives. This book was written from my heart, from my two boys. So if anything ever happened to me, this is how you're going to design the life of your dreams, right here. There's exercises in this book. It's interactive. It is simple. Success is not difficult. It's simple, but it takes time. Okay? Don't confuse easy and simple. Success isn't easy, but it's simple, right? So there's 6 areas of life that you have to be in tune with. Mental, spiritual, physical, financial, emotional, and relational. 6 areas. Okay? There's 6 areas. One, I believe spiritual is the most important, but all 6 are important. Okay? All right? Mental, spiritual, physical, financial, emotional, relational. You need to have bullseyes for each of these. Listen, family, you'll never hit a bullseye that doesn't exist. I was trained in Navy SEALs. I told a Navy SEAL, I said, I guarantee you, one is a sniper. I said, I guarantee you, I can prevent you from hitting a bullseye. He goes, sir, with all due respect, Mr. Stout, this is what I do. I'm the highest trained in the world at what I do. I feel very confident in my ability, so I'm going to have to respectfully, sir, disagree with you. I said, I guarantee you I can make sure you cannot hit your bullseye. He goes, okay, sir, I'm listening. I go, if you don't have one. If you don't have one. That's most people. That's most people. They don't have one. They're on cruise control. Oh, where are you going to be on Monday? Work. What happens Friday at 5 o'clock? I'm off work. What happens at Sunday at 10 p.m.? Sick feeling in my stomach, so I have to go to work. And here's what I would tell all of you. I called my mom one time. My mom is now on my payroll. She does nothing but drive around the golf cart drinking wine at 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what she does. But she's my best friend. I love my mom. But my mom called me one time complaining. I said, Mom, you do understand most people would do anything to trade places with you. They would do anything to have a job like yours. But as long as you're not thankful for it and grateful for it, yeah, life is going to be miserable. It's a choice. So going back to the conversation with this college baseball coach, I said, listen, man, you've won a College World Series title. I've had the honor to mentor your team and you. I said, you have an unbelievable stadium. You're in the #1 conference in college baseball. I said, pretty much every college baseball coach on planet Earth, other than myself, would switch spots with you. And yet you're complaining about your job. He gets paid 7 figures a year to be a college baseball coach. I took him back to when we first met. He was an assistant coach, sitting in the stands with me at a high school game while I was coaching college baseball at DBU. I said, remember when you were complaining about how you couldn't scrub 2 pennies together? But you were doing it because you were passionate about making a difference in players' lives and passionate about the game? Do you remember that conversation you had with me? He said, yeah, Coach, I do. I go, you're making 7 figures now, coaching the same game. And you're complaining about it. Attitude of gratitude versus attitude of entitlement. The last attribute, there's 15. The last one I'm going to touch on is you have to have an unwavering belief. Listen to me. God put that dream on your heart. God put that dream on your heart. God put that dream on your heart. Don't expect other people to get your dream. You hear me on this? Your dream's not for other people to understand. At first, they may mock you. They may laugh at you. They may make fun of you. But then as you keep going through the 5 stages, they're going to start watching you. Then all of a sudden, they're going to start celebrating you. I had this one sweet lady, and I'll close with this. I had this one sweet lady. You know, like if you're raising money for something, like, you know, a cookie drive or whatever, you're raising money. Y'all done this, right? You raise money for whatever your school project. Well, there's this one lady that whenever, like, she was my go-to. I'd go to her when I knew I needed to raise some money for something. You know, she was the one, right? Raising money for uniforms for the junior high team, whatever it was. And so I went to her, blah, 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 and she would always do it, right? Well, I started my first business, abnormal, started my first business, right? And so I said, for sure, this person would be my first customer. They've always been my first customer, right? And so I tell them what I'm doing, you know, and that's the sweetest lady I know. And I'm like, hey, you know, here's what I'm doing. I'd be honored if you'd be my first customer. And I'll never forget this lady looked at me. She goes, Logan Stout, you're a man of God. I can't believe you're doing this. You're going to go to jail. I don't even know if this is legal. I said, Mom, I'm not going to jail. It's 100% legal. I'm just trying to sell you something so I can start my business. My own mom wouldn't be my first customer. My own mom. So when you go to start your own entrepreneurial journey, just remember this. God put that dream on your heart. When you go to start whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is God's put on your heart, that's not for other people to understand. But here's what I do know. When you have an unwavering belief in it, here's what happens. The whiners are repelled from it. The winners will run to it.
All right.
Let that sink in. The winners will run to that vision. I have a vision for our baseball program here. People don't even believe my vision.
All right.
Some even say, don't say it on air, on the news. Just watch. Watch. And there's some guys in our locker room that probably don't buy into it. They're just putting up with me for now. But I only need 9 of them that do.
All right.
9 players play. And I promise you, they're going to run to that vision. And we're going to make UAPB proud. And it's going to be a lot sooner than you can imagine. You mark my word. If we can deal with businesses and all the junk that comes with 65,000 employees, how many we had, honey? We can deal with 40 baseball players. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of excitement. My kids and I, we love watching the basketball team, the football team, the band, M4. You guys are, any of those representatives here? You guys are unbelievable. Have you ever heard them? Are they not incredible? I mean, holy cow. You guys are awesome. I hope, you know, we watch all of it. We can't be live in person, soccer, you name it. We watch on the SWAC network and the HBCU Go and all that stuff. But I hope you'll come out and support the baseball team. And anything I can ever do for any of you all watching this on TV or whatever, my family is humbled and honored to be a part of this community. And we know for a fact God placed us here for reasons we don't even truly know yet. But I know this, I wake up fired up and excited about what we get to do here together. I go to sleep every night fired up and excited about what we get to do here together. And I have no doubt the best is yet to come. So with that being said, thank you for the gift of your time today. Y'all have a great day. God bless, and I'll turn it over to whoever. All right, Ms. Lockett. All right. Thank you very much.
Do you have any questions?
Sorry.
Do you do like walk-ons, the Trials Field baseball team? 'Cause my brother, he played pitcher, and he just transferred and he trying to play.
Oh, so this turned into a recruiting meeting. I love it. Good. Good news is the baseball coaching staff's here. Coach Pearson, you can get with him. Coach Pearson, stand up. There he is. Give Coach Pearson a round of applause. Hook up with him. So I don't know what all the rules are in regards to that at this stage of the season, but I'm learning the rules as we go, everybody. So it's one of the awkward things. You're used to owning all your own companies for 30 years. Now there's rules, so I got to learn them. I'm used to making the rules. So good question. Any other questions? Anything else?
I have one.
Yes.
Right here. Your first coaching job, you said how you had the 14 Bad News Bears,
Yeah.
and nobody else wanted the players and that kind of thing. How did you turn that team around? What did you instill in that team to make them winners?
You know what's interesting is, to me, it was all about mindset. So I basically just put the elephant in the room was, hey, nobody wanted you guys. Nobody wanted you, okay? But I did. I want you. And bottom line, right now, you're not better than these other players. But I'm going to drive in 4 hours on Saturday night, and I'm going to coach you for 4 hours or as long as we can go. And starting right now all the way until the summer, and then we'll start playing. And my commitment to those players is, listen, I'm going to love you better than any coach. I'm going to out-coach every coach, and we're going to outwork every coach if you'll just buy in. And these players did buy in, and we ended up winning the league, which was a big deal for back then. Again, that's all there was, right? And we actually were 1 game short of going to the World Series. And so we lost the championship game of the regional tournament. So we won state, championship game of regional, and it was. I look back on it. I had not even thought of this story until we were in the car. We were driving here, and my wife says, "Honey, what are you going to talk about?" I said, "I don't know. We'll figure it out." And that was an interesting deal. And so the next year, so no team from Texas had won the World Series since 1973. That year was 1999. So we won it in 2002, and won it again in 2003. To this day, the only team to win it back-to-back. 2004, Perfect Game came onto the scene for the baseball community, and it kind of just destroyed the homegrown baseball world, which stinks. But yeah, for me, it was more belief, number one. Number two, self-discipline. I told every player, listen, you just be the very best you can be and do what I ask you to do, because the best teams win, not the best players. Did y'all hear me on this? The best teams win, not the best players. So it's how do you get a collection of talent and piecemeal it together to create this beautiful puzzle piece, this piece of art, right? And that's how that works. And so the other teams were much bigger, faster, stronger. I remember our pitcher was throwing 77, 78 miles an hour. Theirs was 92, 94, you know. And we won, and we won. And we bunted, we executed, and did the little things. But it was a mindset. It was all mindset, honestly. You know, and that's the same thing we're doing here, except we're blessed to have a lot of really talented players at UAPB. We're very blessed. So,
I got a question.
yes.
Coach, first of all, thank you for your presentation today and enlightening us on a few things. But one, on the laws of attraction, you talked about that. And sometimes we have to purge people out of our lives to get the things done that we need to get done. Even in some cases in our team, we talk about a team approach. Today, kids are faced with more peer pressure than we were coming up. And they get into these cliques and want to be cool with the cliques. Even in adults do the same thing. But let's elaborate on that a little bit further in terms of you received a message from a higher power to get some things done.
Right.
How do we continue to get, let's go more in depth in terms of navigating through that to make sure your circle is putting you in the right place for you. Terrell Owens talked about, I love me some me.
Yeah.
Do you love yourself enough to put yourself in position to be successful? But let's go a little bit more in depth in that, if you will.
Yeah, that's a great question from AD. So I tell my own boys, Miles and Cooper, I said, listen, you got to be abnormal. I touched on this earlier. What is normal? Well, you go to college, you drink, right? Probably smoke stuff. You're chasing whatever. You all know what I'm talking about. I don't have to elaborate on that. All right, I've got 12-year-olds, guys. Come on, read between the lines here, right? You're chasing stuff. You know what I mean? Listen, I get it. You're in college, you want to have a good time. But here's the bottom line. You attract who you are. I said that earlier, but I'm going to keep repeating it because I ask myself this question every day. Logan Stout, would you follow you? Would you follow you? Because I got 2 boys counting on me. I got a wife counting on me. I have coaches counting on me. They came to coach at UAPB because I'm here. I've got 40 players counting on me. You know? And so ultimately, listen to me. If you can't be trusted with a little, you're not going to be trusted with a lot. It's stacking bricks. You're building a house. Okay? You building a house doesn't start at 25 when you graduate. It starts when you start building it. And I'll tell you what I did. This is a little off topic, but it's not. I told my mom, I walked into the house, our partner. I walked in, my mom was 12 years old. I was your age, Miles and Cooper. I walked in, and we had a small little apartment, but it was all I knew. It was great for us, right? I walk in, my mom's crying on the couch. Smoking a cigarette, crying. And she's strong. She never showed weakness. To this day, she doesn't. And I said, Mom, you okay? And she saw me and go, oh, yeah, I'm good. I go, Mom, why are you crying? And she goes, I'm not. I go, Mom, I saw you crying. And she goes, honey, I'm good. It's just a tough day. I'm just trying to pay the bills. If you read this book, I share stories about going to the grocery store and we could only afford 2 apples. And anytime we could afford over 3 apples, it was a good week for our family. I mean, that's what it was like, you know. And I walked out of the room, and then I came back in. I said, hey, Mom, I'm going to be rich one day. I'm going to take care of you. And she looked at me. She had a big smile. She goes, honey, I love your heart, but listen, there's the haves and there's the have-nots. We're the have-nots, and that's okay because we have each other. And I went in my room, and I sat on my bed, and I looked up at the ceiling, and I was just like, so this is it? This is it. So my first company, this is a little off topic, but I want you to hear me on this. My philosophy was, I'm going to set myself up for life by the age of 25. Then I can play the rest of my life if I want to. And that's exactly what I did. We did $70 million at the age of 25. Because I wasn't smoking. Never had a sip of alcohol in my life. I was making the right habits. I was surrounding myself with the right people. And I understood this principle: new people solve old problems. Did you hear me on that? New people solve old problems. The problems don't go away if the people don't. Because the people bring the problems. That's business, that's teams, that's everything. Okay? So you have to ask yourself who you surround with. And listen, you know what's abnormal? Getting to be a Division I college baseball coach because I want to. Not because that's a job, not because I need to. Right? What life do you want to design? Well, you're going to have to be abnormal. You're going to have to break up with some people that are cool. Well, guess what? They're not cool when life really matters. How many people did we grow up, honey? They grew up with money and affluence and all their partying all the time, making stupid choices, making fun of me, and then they're reaching out on Facebook asking me to hire them. Broke habits lead to broke mindsets, lead to broke people. So, first business, again, this is before direct deposit and stuff. I had all my checks mailed to my mom. Honestly, God, truth. Remember I told her she wouldn't be my first customer. Remember I told you this? So my mom called me, hey, you got some mail? Open it up, Mom. And it showed it's a check for $8,000. She goes, what is this for? I got to start a business. Remember, you would be my customer? Thanks, Mom, I got to go. Next check, she opens it up. It's another check for $8,000. Thanks, Mom, appreciate it. I'll come by and pick them up. And she called me right back. She goes, is this legal? I go, no, Mom, but you'll bail me out, right? Like, just joking with her. Guys, you have to be you and be comfortable in your own skin. You have to. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. As long as God's proud of me, and my family's proud of me, I'm good. Nothing else matters. I'm not here to please you. You got me on this? I tell our players that all the time. You don't have to like me, but you're going to operate the way we're going to operate as a team. Period. Or go find a different team. That's it. So success leaves clues. You know what also leaves clues? A lack of success. So here on campus, for you all, you have more peer pressure, social media, you're connected to anything you want with the click of a button. Okay, what you need to do is really ask yourself, and I'll close with this. In a perfect world 2 years from now, 5 years from now, where's my life? Now have the courage to build a life around your answer. Did you hear me on this? You want to be financially free. Okay? Don't make bad spending habits. Don't hang out with the wrong people. Don't go buy stuff you don't need.
That's right.
I mean, I've made tons of money. How many times have I bought myself something, honey? I don't buy myself anything. I don't need anything. Right? A fancy watch, fake it till you make it, broke mindset. Broke mindset. Successful people don't need fancy things. They don't care what you think. You know why I have this nice suit? My friggin' wife bought it for me. It's a true story. Right? This watch. I don't need any of this. She goes, honey, yes you do. You're on national television. You need to have this. I'm like, I don't need it. Right? I'd show up here in flip-flops if I could. You know, but she's right. I need to dress the part. I get it. But my point is, family, listen. A fan tells you what you want to hear. I'm not your fan. A friend tells you what you need to hear. I'm your friend. You're going to have to be abnormal if you want to live an abnormal life. I've been blessed since the age of 24 now, hun, to do whatever I want, whenever I want, wherever I want, with whomever I want. Because I made the right hard choices when I was in school. I had everything thrown my way. Everything. And I said no. You know how many teammates I had that were more talented than me, quite frankly? And they just lost everything because they made horrible choices. Hanging around the wrong people. The wrong people. So, Coach, I'm glad you asked that question. I could dive a lot deeper than that, but I know we're short on time. All right, well, I know people have to get to class. I'll stick around. We have a recruit on campus, by the way. Hopefully a future Golden Lion. So, good to see you, Connor. But what do you have here? The Queen of the Library? What are you doing? Y'all know Miss Lockett, right? The Queen of the Library?
Good morning, everybody. This is just an appreciation from the library. It's just a plaque that says, John Brown Watson Memorial Library presented to Logan Stout in recognition of your academic contributions to student success, book signing 2024.
Oh, I gotta get a picture with you with this, Miss Lockett. Thank you, Miss Lockett.
And this is also for you.
Thank you so much.
And Ms. McGee, give him a round of applause.